Welcome to Policy on Demand's Week in Review. I'm Ken Kuykendall.
What would you tell clients are your takeaways from this week?
So this week I've been in Rome at our European Global Tax Symposium and spending time with clients, academics, and thought leaders talking about things all across the business landscape and the geopolitical landscape with a lens of tax. Takeaways that I have here, one overall theme is just complexity. Let me start first with much of the discussion here has centered on important scientific and technology breakthroughs that are going to make the business environment around us incredibly dynamic. And that's obviously going to make our tax environment also similarly complex and dynamic. There's a lot of things for us to digest as we think about what the tax environment could look like 3, 4, 5 years from now, and that's the types of things we've been talking about here. While that's been going on, also we've had a lot of action going on in Congress where we were able to get through a bill through the House and the Senate that will fund the government through January and February, and there's been lots of discussion on that topic.
Which question related to policy did you get asked the most, and how did you respond?
So the question I'm hearing the most as an American sitting here in Rome is talking about U.S. policy and what's going on in that space. Obviously, a lot of questions around what Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 means from a U.S. perspective, what the U.S. congressional reaction will be to Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 as we're talking about this at a global tax conference, but also just what's going on overall in the U.S. with the amount of gridlock that's going on in the U.S. government and difficult budget issues that the country faces.
Where should companies focus their attention in the coming week?
There's a couple things for companies to focus on in the coming week. The first is what's the practical realities of the government now being funded through January and February via the agreement that was just reached. That takes out an important vehicle in the current calendar year that could have been used for meaningful tax legislation that I know many of our clients have been focused on. I think what that means is folks are going to have to stay diligently focused on how to continue that momentum into 2024 and ensure that as those funding deadlines come up and as we work on meaningful ways to fund the government over the long haul, we focus on some of the necessary tax changes that we've all been working towards. The second thing for people to obviously focus on is what's the follow-up from what's happened in San Francisco with the meeting between President Biden and President Xi. The reality is the two of them got together, which was a meaningful sign for the global environment, and agreed to begin talks, at least on a military basis. The question is, what does that mean for trade and business going forward? And the practical reality is for all of us to watch what are the actions that take place following that and whether or not there's anything that will help the business climate.